guys, and welcome back. My name is Charlie Louise. I am a trainee psychology practitioner, and although I have been working in the field for mental health for a while, this video is really meant just for entertainment and educational purposes only, and please do seek support for your unique case if you feel that is needed. So without any further ado, let's get into the main body of the video. So first of all, worry is perfectly normal. We're all designed to worry at some point, whether that's something that we're doing every day, we're noticing it happens more than others. Some people might never worry. That variation, that's perfectly normal. That's how we are designed as humans. If we think to how our brains have developed, our minds have been designed to think. It's our own ability to be able to think ahead, to forward plan, to think about what could happen, that really separates us from other species. As far as we're aware, they aren't able to plan ahead in the same way as we are. This ability is so helpful to problem solve and to have progressed in terms of civilization and society as we have done. But for some people, this ability to think ahead is having a massive impact on their lives. It's something where we feel that thinking about all those what ifs, those coulds, dwelling into that realm, forward planning, thinking ahead of every possible scenario that could happen, soon ends up embodying all of their time. And that might not happen for everyone. It does happen for some people. For others, they might just notice that at certain points in their life, when there are lots of things going on, they can't help but worry, and that is understandable and okay. But if you feel that it is becoming a little bit overwhelming and you would like some techniques to help manage that worry, then you're in the right place looking at this video. There are a few different techniques which I'll try and go into as we do different videos on this channel. But the first one I wanted to talk about is worry time, or worry postponement, and that's the most researched method for managing worry that is out there. It was created by a guy called Borkovec and his colleagues in 1983. It really involves just 5 simple steps. So the first step is just finding a way to record your worries. You could go old school, it could be a nice notebook, or you can use your phone, you can use an app. There's loads of apps out there. Worry Tree is one really good one that a lot of people use that takes them through the worry time stages. And really, that is really key. What that does is by writing it on there, as soon as we notice that worry popping up, it tells our brain, you've got this. I've written it down. Look, I'm not going to forget, brain. And it also helps us to get some space from that thought by putting it out in front of our paper rather than being up inside our mind. The next step after we've written it down is step 2, and that's where we come up with a label. So we want to try and categorise the worry. Think about, is it mostly around health, around family, etc.? And that's really helpful for us spotting patterns around our worries, noticing commonalities. And once we've got a label, also it's helpful to think about, is this a problem or is this a worry? And the reason I say that is because a lot of worries could be problem in disguises. And a lot of the things we consider problems are actually more of worries because we can't do anything about them. So once we've written them down, if you have time, just try and think about whether it's one or the other. So just to help with clarifying, a hypothetical worry or worry is thinking of those what ifs. What if this could happen? Might this happen in the future? Maybe in the next 10 years? But I don't know for certain. Or it's outside of our circle of control. We're thinking about what if this happens to this person, but we can't control their lives. That would probably be something that would fall under a worry, something we can't help and something that we can't necessarily control, but as human nature we try and do everything we can to control it. That's the crucial truth behind worries. We keep thinking about it because our brain wants to be able to solve them, but it can't. They're worries, we can't do anything about them. That's why it's a worry. On the other side, you've got a problem. A problem is something that we can do something about. Crucially, it's something we can do something about that if we do that thing, that's going to be helpful for us in the long run. If we're thinking about doing something that will get rid of that problem, but might cause other problems down the line, it's not a problem, it's more of a worry. So that's something to bear in mind as well. So, as you probably guessed, once we've categorised our worries and written it down, that's probably not going to be enough for our mind to think, okay, I'm good with this now. So step 3 comes in. And this one sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but there's a lot of evidence to support it. And that's having a worry time. Sitting down and just letting your mind do what it wants to do and to really go to town on those worries. Really think about them, dwell on them, do what it wants to do. The idea behind this is that by giving ourselves that time for our mind to do what it wants to do, we're letting it almost get out of its system, and we're also letting it try and think about a solution to the worry, even though we know that might not be possible, which helps us build up almost this tolerance of that uncertainty around it and helps us to accept that worry and be able to move on. The main part of worry time is, instead of worrying 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or worrying at night when it doesn't work for us, the idea of worry time is that we're scheduling this time, preferably at the same time every day if we can, to help our body get into a routine that's convenient for us. This could be 15 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. We try not to go longer than 30, as then that might be venturing into sort of more worry than productive worry. About 15 to 30 minutes will be plenty of time to work through. And the crucial part of that is not to go over that time that you've allocated, and to make sure that you're sticking to that time that you've planned to do that worry. That's what your brain has prepared for. It's prepared to worry during that time. So if you've been putting it off all day and saying, I'll do that later, and you never do, your brain's not going to learn to trust you. So it's going to keep coming back with these worries. And that's where the crucial part of worry time comes in. So the only main thing to bear in mind when planning your worry time, it can be whenever you want, whenever feels helpful for you, but try and avoid doing it during bedtime. As you can imagine, that probably won't end well. Our brain needs time to switch off from that. So it can be really helpful to have something planned afterwards that is fun, that you enjoy, or just something physical that you can refocus on. So after worry time, we come on to step 4. And this is sort of after we've had our worry time, we've gone on back to do our day, whatever it is, and we know our worry time is scheduled the next day. Our brain, especially at first, is really unlikely to trust us to actually stick to this worry time, so it's going to throw out worries throughout the day. Some of them might even be the same worries that you were just worrying about during worry time. That's perfectly normal. That's what our brain's doing. It's just trying to look out for us. It's trying to be helpful, but perhaps not in the best way for us. So when that happens, just make a note that the worry's popped up and say, thanks brain, I'm gonna come back to that in my worry time next time, okay? If you find that even though you've written it down, you've reminded your brain, it keeps coming back, just try and keep a tally how many times it comes up, and that tells you next time you come to sit down in your worry time that this is a really important one I'm gonna pay attention to. And if you're looking at this and noticing that that worry coming back is the same worry as you've been having before, that's okay. It might take a while for that worry to go down. It's just part of that process. Don't beat yourself up for having the same worries over and over again. And if you're really struggling to refocus your attention onto something else, then instead of going back to doing the activity you were doing before your worry time or before that worry popped up, try and doing a different activity just to help with disengaging your brain from that line of thought that it wants to go down. And then finally, we're on to step 5, the 5th and final step. And this is really important too. It's something that a lot of people forget when they start doing something new, and that is review. So the reason why we say to review your worry time is because every week is not going to be the same. Every week is not going to work as well for you, and you might need to experiment to try out which time of day works really well for you with worry time. So each week, if you can, just try and schedule 10-15 minutes just to sit down and review. How am I getting on with worry time? Have I noticed any themes with worry time? Are there any worries popping up more than normal, or on a certain topic more than usual? Has anything changed with my relationship with my worries since I started doing this? As just noticing even the positives that might have come from it, that's a really helpful thing too. And if you're noticing that during that worry time you allocated 30 minutes and actually over that week you realised I don't really need 30 minutes, then make a note of that and come back to that during your worry time review and just say, okay, I can shorten it a little bit more. That's it. That's worry time. It's a really simple technique that sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but is honestly really helpful. It's as simple as writing it down, categorising it, worrying when we want, refocusing, and setting a review time. If you have any questions or anything about using worry time, or if you would like me to focus on anything in particular in the future, pop me a comment down below. And please like and sort of share or subscribe to help with other people finding these videos. Until next time, thank you for watching and stay kind.